Most people watch a horror movie to feel something. Fear, suspense, that pulse of adrenaline that reminds us we're alive. But the best horror films don't just scare us. They reflect us. They mirror what each era fears most. Horror is more than jump scares or monsters. It's a genre built on the evolving relationship between fear and society. Each generation redefines what's terrifying, using the same visual and emotional language in new ways. Through 6 films, Frankenstein, The Thing from Another World, Peeping Tom, The Exorcist, Halloween, and Paranormal Activity, we can trace how horror changes form, but never purpose. Frankenstein 1931 represents the birth of science horror. When it premiered, audiences were both fascinated and horrified by its vision of man creating life from death. It wasn't just a monster story, it was a moral one. James Whale turned Mary Shelley's warning about unchecked ambition into a reflection of modern anxieties about science and technology.
Alive! It's alive! Oh, in the name of God, now I know what it feels like to be God.
As film historian Clarence wrote, Flory was responsible for the plot twist, whereby the monster is given a madman's brain. The movie monster is a murderous fiend, devoid of reason and barely glimpsed as human. This transformation shows how early Hollywood redefined Shelley's creature from misunderstood victim to symbol of uncontrollable progress. Frankenstein emerged at a time when people were questioning the cost of industrialization and scientific advancement. After the First World War and during the Great Depression, technology no longer symbolized progress. It symbolized fear. The film's laboratory filled with bolts of lightning and electrical coils turned science itself into a gothic nightmare. The monster's death at the hands of an angry mob reflected the public's fear of the unknown. It showed that humanity often destroys what it doesn't understand. In this way, Frankenstein set the syntax of horror: dark settings, moral conflict, and tragic monsters that mirror us more than they oppose us. 2 decades later, fear shifted from what we create to what might come for us.
In 1950, men throughout the world learned to look on the brutal face of communism. Berlin, powder keg of Europe, saw a mass demonstration of indoctrinated young Germans on May Day. France was also beset by communist-inspired strife. Red Union members adopted violent methods to prevent the unloading of Marshall Plan aid.
The Thing from Another World 1951 defined the sci-fi horror subgenre born from Cold War paranoia and post-war science. As Robert Kolker notes, the Roswell affair surely influenced The Thing from Another World. We finally got one. We found a flying saucer, the men exclaim. The excitement of discovery quickly curdles into fear of invasion. In this film, the horror isn't a man's ambition, it's the unknown other. The alien represents both communist infiltration and scientific arrogance, capturing an age when paranoia defined national identity. The alien represents both communist infiltration and scientific arrogance, capturing an age when paranoia defined national identity.
We're going to try to figure out the shape of this thing. Here are the tools, sir.
Frankenstein, it questions whether curiosity has limits. Electricity, once a tool of creation, is now a weapon of destruction. If Frankenstein warned us about the dangers of playing God, The Thing warned us about the fear of the outsider, showing how easily progress becomes paranoia. By 1960, horror turned inward. Peeping Tom represents the rise of psychological horror. Its monster isn't a creature, it's a man with a camera. Michael Powell made audiences complicit in the horror, forcing us to see through the eyes of a killer. As White observes, if the majority of films achieve anything, it is only the selling of the illusion that they are a phenomenon of our times. Peeping Tom shatters that illusion. It exposes how cinema itself can be violent. The camera not as a passive observer, but as a weapon. The film predicted our growing obsession with watching. It blurred the line between filmmaker and voyeur, between art and exploitation. In this way, Powell redefined horror's syntax not through monsters, but through gaze and guilt. The horror comes from realizing that looking can itself be dangerous.
Raise your head and look at the sea, please.
What sea? What sea?
I just wanted it puzzled. Look.
A decade later, fear took a spiritual turn.
Is connected to devil worship. That's the focus tonight of Lonnie Lardner's special report on Satanism. But we want to warn you now that some things you're about to see and hear might be too graphic for children.
The Exorcist, 1973, reintroduced the supernatural to a world losing faith in both religion and reason. Where Peeping Tom examined obsession with control, The Exorcist confronted the loss of it. As Brefel explains, this demand for sympathy does not work against her monstrosity, but forms its very core. But a possessed young girl poses the threat of a stifling intimacy. Reagan's vulnerability is the horror. She embodies the fear that evil can reach the most innocent and familiar spaces.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
You'd like that?
Intensely.
The film bridges faith and skepticism, science and superstition. Its terror lies not only in the demonic, but in the collapse of certainty. The Exorcist defines the religious horror subgenre, where salvation and fear coexist, and spiritual crisis becomes cinematic spectacle. By 1978, horror came home. Halloween stripped the genre to its essentials, birthing the slasher film. John Carpenter's world isn't filled with monsters or demons, just a quiet town, a girl next door, and something watching her from the shadows. Clover describes this effect best. Lagging behind practice is a theoretical understanding of effect, the process by which a certain image filmed in a certain way causes one person's pulse to race remains a mystery. Carpenter weaponized that mystery. Stillness, repetition, and silence became instruments of dread.
Investigators say he would meet his victims in the gay bars, then charm them by sketching a portrait of them just before he took their lives. 14 people, all believed to be gay, were killed from January 1974 to September 1975.
The 1970s obsession with serial killers grounded Halloween in reality. Evil no longer needed mythology. It could wear a mask, live next door, and strike without reason. The film turned domestic safety into illusion, defining the syntax of modern horror: slow pacing, point of view shots, and omnipresent surveillance. Three decades later, horror evolved again for the digital age. Paranormal Activity 2007 marked the rise of found footage horror, stories told through cameras meant to protect us.
I vow to the American people that our government would do everything within the law to protect them against another terrorist attack.
In a post 9/11 world defined by surveillance, this film transformed observation into fear itself.
Learned of some things that have been happening in many ways on an automatic pilot, and yes, in some cases, it has reached too far inappropriately, and the president, our president, is determined to try to clarify and make clear for people, and is now doing a thorough review in order that nobody will have a sense of abuse.
As Syed writes, the films are not presented to us as inspired by real events. They are supposed to constitute the audio-visual documentation of these events. What we see, we are told, are real people, not characters based on them. That illusion of authenticity makes the horror believable. The film's syntax, side shots, silence, and night vision stillness, creates fear through what isn't seen. It reflects modern anxieties, being watched, recorded, and powerless. If Peeping Tom showed the danger of watching, Paranormal Activity shows the danger of being watched.
Let me see what I can do, but I've got to leave this room right now.
This is no joke.
I will help you, but I can't do this right now.
No. Serious?
Across nearly a century, these 6 films trace the evolution of horror's form and function. Semantically, the monsters change, from science gone wrong to alien threats, human killers, demonic forces, and unseen surveillance. Syntactically, horror adapts, moving from expressionist lighting to documentary realism, but always with the same goal: to reflect what we as a society fear most. Horror has never been about what's scary. It's about what's revealed, the anxieties, the obsessions, the cultural wounds that lie beneath the surface. Each era builds on the last, reshaping its syntax to express new forms of fear. Horror watches us as much as we watch it. From Frankenstein's lab to Paranormal Activity's living room, the genre evolves, but its purpose remains the same: to remind us that fear is never just on the screen. It's in the mirror, waiting for us to look.